close. Welcome back to Notemon's YouTube channel, everyone. Today we got into something a little bit different, and I refinished this mirror. So our restaurant is kind of in the middle of a remodeling makeover type situation, and these mirrors we've had hanging up, and they don't match the decor anymore. So what we're going to do is change that brown wood to a nice like white beachy type theme ish situation. So what I did to start everything off was remove the coat hangers. I didn't have my regular set of tools. If I did, I wouldn't have had to use this ratchet, and the Phillips head that I had attached to it didn't actually secure nicely, so you might see that it dropped out a couple times. But removing the coat hangers was the first step. Also for this video, you'll see we're using my genuine crafting table, which is the table that I do all my arts and crafts on. As you can see, there is paint everywhere. Every crafter should have a specific craft table that you can ruin, in my humble opinion. So we're starting off, the next step is going to be to just do a very light sand job on this wood because it does have a finish on it. And I was afraid that if I didn't remove that top layer of the finish, that the paint's going to just scrape off, and that's not what I want. So I just took some very fine 400 grit sandpaper and just sanded the wood lightly. You know, we're not trying to remove the wood color or anything, but just sand around it, take off that top coat of whatever, the veneer, the finish, it's not veneer, it's some sort of, it's whatever makes it shiny. It was very fun when I was filming this because I was very aware that it's a mirror, so you can see like everything that it's reflecting. It was funny to me. So basically what you're seeing in the mirror is the cup hanger that we have. It's a giant palette that I made and gave to my husband for our wedding gift. It says Cafe Parson on it with the year that we got married, and it holds over 30 cups, and it's full. We don't have an obsession with coffee cups, I promise. So after you've sanded it, I just took some paper towels and wiped down the sanded piece. Yeah, just in case anybody was curious, I am still counting the uhs that I say, and I am keeping up on the jar, just so everyone's aware. I apologize. I still am trying to get over saying that too much. Anyway, I wiped down the sandy dust from sanding the mirror, or the wood trim around the mirror, because you don't want a bunch of like dust pieces when you paint this. So then I took some painter's tape, and I wanted to make sure it had a square edge instead of just a torn edge, so I did cut the end of it a little bit just to make it so it's a little bit more square. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your tape and butt it up right against the wood without going onto the wood. This will protect your mirror and keep you from having to scrape a bunch of paint off of the mirror at the end. And it's not too awfully difficult, you know, just line it up and then tape it down. And make sure you get all four corners, all four edges. Also was kind of impressed with myself on this because I didn't measure how long. I mean, I kind of measured, but not really measured, and that came out just the perfect length, just about on each side. I think one corner I had to add one little square to finish it off, but it was like a little personal, like, I got a point for that. This was actually a really fun project. It was the first time I've really done a refinishing project like this. I didn't figure it would be too difficult, and I knew what theme we were going with, and I've done enough painting on canvas to know how to get the look that I was going for, so I figured it wouldn't be too difficult to transform that knowledge into a mirror. So after you've got your mirror edges protected a little bit, you're going to take some white acrylic paint is what I used, and I ended up using a lot of it, but there was still some left in that bottle, so just take a paintbrush. I prefer a paintbrush over the sponge brushes because I feel like the sponge brushes leave too many streaks, especially on smoother surfaces. But you just want to do your base coat. Make sure you're getting not only the surface, but the crevice on the inside where we taped, because there is a little lip there, so you want to make sure you get that. And then after I finished the top surface and the inside little nook there, I did the outer edge as well. Ooh, my chair's a little squeaky. I have to get some WD-40 for it. Oh man, I did it again. Forgot to mute my phone before I started recording. I am so sorry. Let me fix that. We're good now. We'll have no more phone interruptions during this video. So the thing with painting the outer edge is you want to make sure, you get enough paint on there, but also that you don't get a lot of drippage on the corners. I noticed it happened a little bit. So once you get it all painted, you can set it aside and let it dry. I had 2 of these mirrors to do, so I just switched mirrors, and then by the time I had the other mirror painted up to that point, the first mirror was dry, so I went back in with the second coat. And this is just to get that full opacity, so that none of that brown wood showed through. But it's the same exact thing. You just want to make sure you cover all of it over again. Make sure there's no streaks. You have a nice white surface. Coffee. Always out of my Hogwarts mug. In fact, I'm drinking out of that right now doing this voiceover. It's my most favorite mug. So again, just like with the first coat, again, you want to make sure to get the outside edge as well. Just make it all pretty. One color. Looks very clean and just flat at this point. Well, I'll tell you, shuffling these 2 mirrors, having one wet and one almost dry was a challenge for me because, I mean, honestly, when I did this, one corner of the mirror tapped my TV, so I had to clean some paint off of my TV screen. There's never enough space when crafting. That's what I've learned in my life. Oh, my cat Onyx decided to say hello to everyone. Hi, baby. Alright, so once your second coat of white is dry, you're going to grab some black paint. And I just use, you could use a paper plate, a palette, whatever you want to use. I had just had this plate on hand that I always use for painting. It doesn't take very much paint at all. One little dab on the brush, brush it off as much as you can, and this is a technique called dry brushing. So you can kind of see it's just leaving the barest minimum of markage. And I didn't have to go back in and get more paint on my brush to do this entire mirror. So I picked the direction I wanted this beachy, kind of sand-worn look to go, and or a sanded look, and made sure that even on the short edges I went in the same direction. I did get a little nervous that it was getting too dark on the short edge, but after it was all dried and complete, I really am happy how it came out. But it just takes a very light touch, and like I said, hardly any paint on that brush. And you brush off as much as you can. So once that has dried, you can now remove your tape that we had down to protect the mirror. Onyx, honey, get down. You know you're not allowed on that table. She's trying to climb on top of the laptop as I'm recording. So once you remove the painter's tape, rather, I was getting ready to put the coat hangers back on, and I realized that they're bronze color, and it didn't really match the new theme of the mirror colors, so I decided to paint them all black, which took absolutely no time. They dried super fast. It only took one coat. I did have to go back through because I had to hold on to it, so I had to go back and do the other half of it where I was holding on to, but it really didn't take very much time at all. They dried really fast, and this is just black acrylic paint again. And like I said, I did 2 mirrors, so that's why there's 10 coat hangers here. One of the best things about acrylic paint is even if it gets all over your hands on your skin, it just washes off with water. Half the time you don't even really have to use soap to scrub it off. It just comes right off. I love it. Alright, so now that those are all dry, we get to line our coat hangers back up and, just like in the beginning but in reverse, put them back on. Some of these, I don't know if you guys notice or paying that much attention to the detail, but some of these have one screw, some of them have two screws. It's because when we originally bought these mirrors, they came with their own, and over the years, some of the coat hangers have broken, so the ones that have two screws in them are the ones that we've replaced. Just a little fun fact if anybody was curious. But again, like I said, I didn't have my normal tool set at home at the time. And I wished that I had, because a couple of these, like I had to actually replace one of them when I did these mirrors. So I actually had to create a new hole in the wood with just this ratchet and screwdriver attachment. But it didn't go too awfully bad. It's funny how the lighting keeps changing depending on where my hand is. I think it's because of the mirror reflections, but just noticing that now as I look back and rewatch the video. So the last step is just a basic cleanup. Even though we did have that protective tape on, there's still some spots that leaked through paint. All you have to do to clean this up is just get a flat razor blade and just scrape along the mirror up to the edge. And I just did the entire edge all the way around, all four sides. It just cleans the paint off really nicely, makes it a nice clean edge. I tried to get an in-close view for you guys best I could. And that's it. You're all good to go. There's a picture of it. That's where we have it hanging in the restaurant now. Another side view for you. It was really fun to do this. It was something new for me. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Notemon, and also my blog, Knox.